Dear students, today I am going to begin a lecture which is, I would say, the most important when it comes to describing how India as a nation, how did India take up its current shape? That means the making of modern India. So, as you must have already seen that today we are going to discuss the history of advent of Europeans in India. So as you know that India have had a colonial history. So what is meant by colonial history? That means some foreign power coming to your country, establishing their own colonies. So this is the story, or you can say this is the beginning of how India was colonized by foreign powers. So let me tell you a few things. From ancient time onwards, India has always been, under threat, under attack by foreign powers. Mostly these threats used to come from, in earlier times, these threats used to come from Asia Minor, from Asian continents. But Alexander's invasion being an exception, because Alexander had come from Greece. Greece is in Europe. So you can say in a way that India was always under attack by Europeans since time immemorial. But when it came to, 14th, 15th century, this tendency accelerated. So now let's begin our story. Let's see how India came to be colonized. So we are going to discuss this chapter in 4 to 5 parts, for the sake of clarity, to keep things compartmentalized. So the first things that we would be discussing is how did Europeans came to India? What came in their mind? Why did they come to India? Why didn't they go to Japan? So let's see. So as you must be aware as a student that many European countries tried to capture or colonize India, but a few were successful. So these are some foreign powers which actually managed to capture some part of India and rule over India for some amount of time. So Portuguese came to India. Portuguese, that means people from Portugal. English, as you very well know, that we have been ruled by the Britishers for more than 200 years. So Britishers also came to India. Dutch, Netherlands. So Dutch East India Company. So you can see the name itself suggests East India Company. They used to form companies. You see, the purpose of coming to India was in a disguise of trade. So these European countries, they had just begun their expansion policy. Expansion policy means go to a country, weaker country, colonize them and exploit them. So to exploit, how can you exploit a country? By taking its things away, by doing improper trade, immoral trade, or predatory trading. That means you buy things at a cheaper price by forcing people to sell at a cheaper price. So these European countries, when they have decided that they are going to exploit India, they used to form companies with the name East India Company. East India. Why the name East India Company? Because Europe is considered to be West. So East India Company means we are going to East, where India is located, and not only India but its neighboring lands as well. So they used to use the name East India Company. So as you can see, even French have created a East India Company. Danish, Denmark. Even Denmark had got the opportunity to rule over India. Denmark, Dutch, Netherlands. So this is the sequence in which these companies were formed. And by looking at it, it becomes very clear that the first people to enter India were the Portuguese, because they were the ones who have formed this company first. So this is the sequence of formation of company. But when it comes to the sequence of coming to India, so in what sequence did they came to India? Coming to India sequence. So first came Portuguese. So after Portuguese came the Dutch. Don't think that East India Company was established earlier, so East India Company came here. No, it's establishing company is not important. Whether you manage to reach India or not, that is important. So after Portuguese came Dutch, after Dutch came the English people, and after English came the Danish people, and then came the French. So if you switch this order, switch these two, you will get the order in which they came to India. So now in this segment, we are going to discuss the first colonial power, the Portuguese. How did they come to India? Why did they come to India? So let's begin now. So what was the political scenario of Europe in 15th century? So have a look at this map. This is Europe. This is Europe. This is India. So if somebody from Europe has to come to India, what will he do? Have a closer look at the map. During ancient times, there were not many huge ships. So traveling by sea was a huge risk because technology was not that well developed. So generally during ancient time, long journeys were done by land. So if you see, these people used to come to India via this land. Even Alexander who came from Greece is somewhere here. So he also used the land route to come to India. But what happened when this portion, this part, this is Arabia, this is Persia, when Islam came into existence, so this entire portion went into the hands of Islamic Caliphate, and they were fighting with the Europeans. So now these people, this Islamic Caliphate won't allow Europeans to cross through their territories. So Europe or Europeans could not use this route to come to India. So now they were looking for some alternative routes to reach India, and they cannot fly, they cannot use land. So the only option left for them was traveling via ocean through sea route. And that is what they did. So let's see. So India's contact with the Western world during the ancient and medieval times is well recorded. So Alexander had come to India. What would you call it? Was he a Westerner? Yes, he was. So during ancient time also, Westerners or Europeans used to visit India. But a direct waterway contact, you can see this is waterway, traveling through ocean. But a direct waterway contact with the Western world was established only in 1498 when Vasco da Gama sailed round the west coast of Africa. That means, though it is true that India was always in contact with the Western world. So this is east, this is west. So India was always, technically speaking, from here begins the west. So this is east, this is west. So India was always in contact with the Western powers. But the first time that a sea route, India got approached or got connected via a sea route to European was in 1498. And why did this happen? Because a sailor from Portugal or sailor from Europe, first European sailor to reach India using sea route was Vasco da Gama. So he sailed round the west coast of Africa. So this is Africa. So this is west coast, this is east coast. So he sailed via west coast of Africa, crossed the Arabian Sea. You can see this is Arabian Sea, and reached India. So we will see in great detail. We are just here to understand now what was the political scenario when all this was beginning. So with the decline of Roman Empire, this is Rome. Roman Empire means Christian Empire. This Rome was taking care of all the Christian lands. So Roman Empire and establishment of a hostile Islamic Caliphate in Arabian Peninsula. As I already told you that this area was under control of Muslims. This area was under control of Christians, and they were fighting each other, because of which the land connection to India was lost. So Europeans had lost the land access to India and Far East countries. So these countries are known as Far East. The Islamic rulers of Turkey controlled Red Sea, and thus Europeans avoided that route. So see, they could have come using this sea route as well. But why didn't they use this sea route? Because even this sea was under control. Even this sea, Red Sea, Caspian Sea, all these seas around the Arabian Peninsula were also under control of the Muslims. So they would not have allowed the Europeans to use that. And the other reason was that these Muslim rulers, since they were fighting, or they had a war or political conflict with the Christians, so they used to impose high taxes. They used to say, if you want to cross through our territory, you will have to pay enormous amount of taxes. And also a very long drawn crusade war. So crusade war was a religious war which was going on between Christians and Muslims. So now you can understand why Europeans were looking for new sea routes to India. So it's pretty clear now. So Portuguese, so this was the problem for entire Europe, not just for a single country. Entire Europe was facing this problem that they cannot go to Asia anymore. So Portuguese or Portugal took the lead. Portugal is a country, if you look at this map. So here is Portugal. The map is cut, by the way. So anyways, so Portugal was one of the powerful countries that was providing men and money to the crusade war. So as I already told you, that a crusade or a religious war was going on between the Christians and the Muslims. Christians of Europe and Muslims of Arabian Peninsula. So Portugal was leading that war. So if you are leading that war, all of a sudden the entire Europe also faced a problem that now we have to find a new trade route or alternate sea route to India. So Portugal told the entire Europe, since I am your leader, I am leading Europe in crusades against Muslim, so I will also take lead to find an alternate sea route to India. So you can say Portuguese were the first people who thought of venturing out in the ocean in an attempt to find an alternate sea route to India. So the king of Portugal at that time, King Henry, he was interested, I would say he was compelled to find new sea routes. So King Henry was nicknamed Navigator because he used to send his people to find new sea routes to all other parts of the world as well. Not only India, but other parts of the world as well. For example, to Africa, to Atlantic islands. So he was already making these kind of attempts. Who? King Henry of Portugal. You have to remember all these facts. See, whenever I make PPT, I ensure to include only those facts which are relevant for you, and I highlight particularly those facts which have been asked in competitive exams. So do not say that how much are we going to learn. See, I can't help it because all these questions have been asked already. So King Henry of Portugal was nicknamed Navigator. You know why? So now look at this map closely. This blue colored thing is Portugal, and this red colored thing is the nation of Spain. So Portugal is located, you can say, on the coast of Atlantic Ocean. So it was very easy for them to travel to distant part of the countries. They are not landlocked. For example, suppose China. China also has access to sea, but you can see here it was very easy for them to easily reach North America, South America, Africa. Africa is quite close. So that's why Portuguese people took the lead. Now what happened next? So King Henry, who was also nicknamed Navigator, he was obsessed with finding a naval route to India. He used to fund many expeditions. He just wanted somehow to find a route to reach India. Here is India, here is Portugal. So somehow he wanted his people to find a route. And please remember, that time there were no maps, no proper understanding of geography. Today it is very easy for you to say that it's not a big deal. He could have come from here to here. But that time there were no maps. So what happened next is that in 1494, this is important, in 1494, Spain and Portugal, so the two neighboring nations, red colored Spain, red color, Spain, blue colored Portugal. So you can see these two are neighboring nations. So they drew an imaginary line on the world map. So this is the line that they drew, and the Spain people told that on this side of the line, we are going to find new routes. So you can see all these red colored territories, they were actually captured by Spain, people from Spain. And this side of the line, eastern side of the line, was given under the control of the Portuguese people. You can see all this blue color here. So this blue color means that Portuguese people landed here. They tried to occupy these territories. So this treaty, based on which this imaginary line was drawn. Why was this line drawn? Because now they were about to send their ships. They did not want to get into fight. They said that you go to some other place, we will go to some other place. So that's why they have drawn this line to demarcate that which territory belongs under whose control. So this treaty was signed in 1494 between Spain and Portugal because they are neighbors, and this treaty is known as Treaty of Tordesillas. Treaty of Tordesillas, signed between Spain and Portugal. Now let's proceed. Treaty is signed, stage is set. The first European voyager to enter the waters of Indian Ocean was a Portuguese voyager, because India was given under control of Portuguese, not Spain. So Portuguese started their attempt. So first attempt was made by a Portuguese voyager known as Bartholomew Dias. Fine. So first attempt, who made a failed attempt, but this attempt could not succeed. First attempt was failed. This was made in 1487, and he ended on the coast of South Africa. So somebody who started from Portugal, who wanted to come to India, Bartholomew Dias, but he ended here, coasts of South Africa. He could not proceed any further. So this is what ended on the coasts of South Africa. So this guy is Bartholomew Dias, and first attempt was failed. So this is the route that he took. He started from here, but he could not proceed further than this. That means he ended his journey at South Africa, Bartholomew Dias. This same person will again come to India. Please keep this in mind. First attempt failed. Now second attempt, second person. So when King Henry was known as navigator, King Henry. So now Henry is dead. His son Manuel is sitting on the throne of Portugal. So when Manuel I became the king of Portugal in 1495, he continued efforts to open a trade route to India by going around Africa. So first attempt have failed. Now Manuel I chooses the 37-year-old Vasco da Gama for this task. Another Portuguese sailor is chosen for the purpose. His name is Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama. Okay, by the way, let me tell you something. This da in Portuguese means of. So proper meaning would be Vasco of city of Gama. Gama was a town in Portugal. So Vasco, the person who belongs to Gama, of. So you will see frequent use of the word da, da, when it comes to the Portuguese. So Bartholomew Dias was also assigned to the voyage to assist Vasco da Gama. because Bartholomew Dias had already come till here. Till here, the route was already found out. So till here, Bartholomew Dias was driving the ship till here, or you can say he was commanding the ship. From here onwards, Vasco da Gama was given the charge. That's why it is said that Bartholomew Dias was also assigned to the voyage, because he knew the route till here. So Vasco da Gama sailed from Lisbon, Portugal in 1497. So the journey begins in July of 1497 round the Cape of Good Hope. So this is the Cape of Good Hope on the tip of African continent, South Africa, Cape of Good Hope. So rounded the Cape of Good Hope and anchored at Malindi, Kenya. So Malindi is a very big port in Kenya. So there is a country located on the eastern coast of African continent. This is Kenya. Mozambique, Mombasa, all are part of Kenya. So the ship that they were traveling on, this ship harbored at Malindi, Kenya. So from Malindi, they hired an Indian sailor whose name was Abdul Majid. So Indian sailor, his name was Abdul Majid. Why did they hire? Because they did not know the route. They have no idea where India is. So when their ship was in Kenya, Malindi port, so from there they hired an Indian, because an Indian will know so how to get back to his country, India. So now they hired him, and with his help, with the help of Abdul Majid, after 11 months, they have begun their journey in July 1497. So after 11 months from beginning of the journey, they finally reach India, Calicut. Fine. And they reached Calicut on 20th July 1498. Very crucial date. 20th July 1498 is when they reached. So Vasco da Gama himself was commanding a ship called Sao Gabriel. They had come by ship. So the name of the ship which Vasco da Gama was driving or commanding was Sao Gabriel. So now Vasco da Gama has reached India. So what happened once he reached India? So Vasco, it's not actually July, it's May. So he has reached Calicut on 20th May. So Vasco da Gama's fleet arrived at Calicut, which is today known as Kozhikode. Kozhikode. So Calicut or Kozhikode is a coastal town of Kerala. So Vasco da Gama reaches there. So the king Jamorin was also known as Samudrin, was a Hindu ruler of Calicut at that time. You can see is the king. Here he is Vasco da Gama. So as Calicut was already used to seeing these foreign people, because Calicut was a port town, so people from Arabia, people from Indonesia, from Sri Lanka, from China, they used to come to Calicut. So the king was in the habit. So king was in the habit of receiving foreigners in his court. So it was nothing new for him. So as his city was accustomed to receiving foreign merchants, so he offered a warm welcome to them. To whom? To the people who had come along with Vasco da Gama. Despite the protest of Arab merchants. Why did the Arab merchants protest? Because they were Muslims and they were fighting with the same people in Europe. So now they understood that if these people will also reach India, then our profit will get divided. If too many people compete for the same product, profit goes down. So that's why they told Samudrin that don't allow these Portuguese people to settle in Calicut. So these Arab merchants have been coming to Calicut for thousands of years. For thousands of years they used to come, and Portuguese have just now come to Calicut. So Arab merchants have been trading in the area since ancient ages and were against the arrival of the Portugals. Because of their opposition, Jamorin was very cautious in his approach towards Portugals, and Vasco da Gama's first visit did not gain much for the Portuguese, because Arabs have already told King Jamorin they had very good relation with Jamorin, because they were operating in the area for thousands of years, so they have better control over the king. So the king became very careful about these Portuguese people. So the first visit of Vasco da Gama could not gain much. He had come here with a hope that he will be allowed to set up factories, he will be allowed to set up colonies here, but that was not to happen. Also, the other thing that backfired was Vasco da Gama had brought some gifts for the king. He thought that he had no idea that how big a king he was. He thought that I am going to meet some tribal king or something. So he brought some cheap quality gifts. So his gifts were very cheap. He brought 2 bottles of honey, 1 plate of silver. So that kind of gifts he had brought. So king was not at all impressed. So Vasco's gift to Jamorin also failed to impress the king. King was also not pleased when Vasco told him that he expected citizens of Calicut to embrace Christianity. So Vasco da Gama openly told the king of Calicut that my purpose of visiting India is not only doing trade, but I would also want people of Calicut to learn about my religion. I am a Christian. I would want Christianity to spread in your kingdom. So this was not liked by the king. He was a Hindu. He was a Hindu ruler. So he thought that why are you coming from Europe to do all this thing in my kingdom? So he was not happy. So Vasco da Gama stayed in Calicut and Goa. So Calicut is in Kerala. Goa is almost like 400 to 500 kilometers away from there. So Vasco da Gama stayed in Calicut and Goa for 3 months and then returned to his country carrying back a cargo of spices and loads of pepper. Pepper means mirch, you can say. So the main purpose of the visit was obviously doing trade. So the Europeans, let me tell you something. Europeans are heavy meat eaters. People of Europe, they consume meat very heavily. So to prepare meat or to preserve meat, you need different kind of spices. And India was famous as the land of spices. So the main focus of the trade was to go or to come to India, buy spices at cheaper rate and then take it back to their country. Because in Europe, these spices were very costly because these spices were not you can say grown in Europe, but they were actually sourced from Asian countries. So if you go to Asia and buy there, it will be cheap for you. So that's why Vasco da Gama took back with him cargoes of spices. He was most interested in pepper. So upon reaching Lisbon, he sold his cargo at 60 times the total cost of his Indian expedition because spices were sold at a much higher prices in his home country. So when he took the same spices to his city of Lisbon is the capital of Portugal. So when he went back to Portugal, the same cargo was sold at 60 times the total cost of his Indian expedition. Total cost, not only the cost of the spices, but you can understand how, what was the price difference back those times. So Vasco da Gama, this was Vasco da Gama's first visit. He had come for the first time. So please remember, now he has returned back to Lisbon, but he will come back to India 2 more times before he died. And in fact, he died in India only. He didn't die in Portugal. He died in India. So in total, Vasco da Gama had come to India 3 times in his life. First time in 1498 when he became the first European trader to land, and after that also 2 times he had come. So please remember all these facts. So now let us understand the story of rise and fall of Portuguese Empire in India. So Vasco da Gama has come to India. So what happened after that? So let's understand the story of rise and fall. So now Vasco da Gama has gone back. So what happened after that? So when he went back, he sold his goods at an enormous amount of profit. He gained enormous amount of profit, 60 times the total cost of his voyage. So this story became instantly popular in the entire Europe. So all the European people, they came to know that going to India is a very profitable business. So inspired by Vasco da Gama's success, a young merchant, Pedro Alvarez Cabral, left for India via the same route that Vasco da Gama had just found out. So Pedro consulted Vasco da Gama, took the permission from the king and started for India, because his motive was also to come to India, collect spices and then go back to his homeland. So now he is coming to India. On his way, now see what happened. Something very interesting happened. So he thought that I will be going to India. So to go to India, this is Africa, this is Africa, this is Portugal. So you are coming from this side. Here is India. Here is India. You have to come here. Fine. On his way, he landed on the coast of Brazil, but his ship was deviated. His ship got deviated and he reached this place. So this place is Brazil. So just accidentally, just by chance, he found out Brazil, because Europeans had no idea what Africa is, what India is. Africa was known as a dark continent. Now slowly and gradually Europeans were discovering the entire length and stretch of Africa. So this is how Brazil was found out by Europeans. So on his way, he landed on the coast of Brazil, and historians call him the official founder of Brazil. Who is the official founder of Brazil? Pedro Alvarez Cabral. He was coming to India. He was not going to Brazil. Brazil was found out accidentally. So finally, since he was coming to India, so he continued on his voyage. Pedro reached Calicut, same city where Vasco da Gama has come, because he has taken consultation from Vasco da Gama. So he also lands in Calicut only. He does not go to Bombay, does not go to Goa. He also comes to Calicut and presented elaborate gifts and letter from Portuguese kings to Jamorin. Vasco da Gama had already told him that I made a mistake. I carried some low value gifts, but he is a big king. He is a powerful king. So this time you are going, you must carry elaborate gifts. So this time he brought elaborate gifts and also a letter from the Portuguese king to the Jamorin. Who is Jamorin? Jamorin was the title of the king of Calicut. Jamorin is not a name. Jamorin is a title of king of Calicut. So whoever will become the king of Calicut, he will be known as Jamorin only. So Jamorin was pleased and he permitted Pedro Alvarez Cabral to open first Portuguese factory. He was a merchant, so his purpose was to open factory. So this time he had brought elaborate gifts. That's why Jamorin was pleased, and that's why Jamorin gave him the permission to open the first Portuguese factory. Where? At Calicut only. So question is, where was the first European factory? This is not only the first Portuguese factory, but also the first European factory. So where did the first European factory got opened? It got opened at Calicut. When did it get opened? So it got opened in 1500 AD. 1500 AD. So but soon Pedro's factory was attacked by the Arabs. You remember that Arab Muslims and European Christians, they are fighting, and now this fight will continue in Calicut also. So soon Pedro's factory was attacked by Arab people and almost 50 Portuguese merchants were killed. 50 Portuguese merchants were killed. So they were employees of Pedro. Pedro was the in charge, or you can say Pedro was the owner of the factory. So these people who were killed were Pedro's employees and they were merchants, mostly merchants. So in retaliation, Pedro bombed Calicut harbor. Pedro said that if you kill me, I will kill you. So Pedro bombs Calicut harbor, captures 10 Arabian ships and killed 600 Arab people. So this will give you an idea that who was more powerful. The Portuguese were more powerful than the Arab merchants. So that let's be very clear about that. So this is how the rivalry have started. This is how the first gun was fired by the Portuguese people. Now they have become aggressive. They are harboring, they are bombing India. They started to bomb India, bombed Calicut harbor. Now Calicut harbor does not belong to Arab, it belongs to Jamorin. So now Pedro signed a peace treaty with the local rulers of Calicut and Kannur, because this Jamorin told him that how dare you bomb my harbor. So he said that, sir, I did not bomb your harbor. My intention was to take revenge from the Arab people. So this is how Pedro and Jamorin, they signed a peace treaty that you are not going to harm any of the native Indians. Fine. So now Pedro has an agreement with the local rulers, not only of Calicut but also of Kannanur. Kannanur was the neighboring kingdom of Calicut. Here is Calicut, here is Kannanur. So he has signed peace treaty with the neighboring king as well. So today Kannanur is known as Kannur. Kannur is also in Kerala only. So Pedro moved out of Calicut. See, now he has two options. He has two friends, King of Calicut and King of Kannur. We will call it Kannur because today it is known as Kannur. So why use Kannanur? So now Pedro moves out of Calicut and settles in Kannanur. Why? Because he has just now killed 600 Arabians. He has just now destroyed their fleet. So he was expecting that they are going to retaliate, and Arabs were more strong in Calicut. They were not that strong in Kannanur. So this person Pedro decides to shift his base from Calicut to Kannanur or Kannur, fearing Arab retaliation, and thus established first trading post. Trading post means factory, means where you produce goods. Trading post means just a place where you sell goods, just like a shop. So first trading post was established at Cochin. So Cochin was a city of Kannanur kingdom. Cochin is located within Kannanur kingdom. Soon Arab merchants and local citizens came together and attacked Pedro in what is known as Battle of Calicut. Now in a way, see, he had already bombed Calicut harbor. So people of Calicut were also looking for revenge. That how can a European come to India, and within 2-3 months he started bombing also. So these Arab merchants as well as local citizens, that means we the Indians, came together and they attacked Pedro in what is known as Battle of Calicut. You have to remember very carefully. Battle of Calicut was fought between Pedro and Jamorin and Arab merchants. So what was the result of this battle? Pedro was defeated and his allies were butchered. That means his entire factory was destroyed. His associates and his you can say fellow merchants, they were killed. So everything is destroyed for Pedro now. So Pedro flees back to Portugal. So you can see till now Vasco da Gama has come. He failed to impress the king. Now Pedro has come and he has also angered the Indian population. Finally Pedro has to flee back to Portugal for his life. So now you have seen that Pedro has also returned back. In fact, he has to save his life. Now, Vasco da Gama comes to India for the second time. As I already told you that in total, Vasco da Gama has come to India for 3 times. So this is his second visit. When Pedro has gone back to Portugal, so news spread in Portugal that Portuguese had begun a fight with Indian kings. So this is the news that reached there. So the king of Portugal, he sends Vasco da Gama back to India. So news of Portuguese-Arab conflict and so-called mistreatment of Pedro Alvarez Cabral by Jamorin of Calicut enraged Portuguese king. That means this guy Cabral ran back for his life. So when he reached Portugal, he told his own king that the Indian king, King Jamorin, did not save my life, did not do anything to help me. And he also told them that now we have started a fight with these Arab merchants. So let us do something. So what did the Portuguese king do? He sends Vasco da Gama back to India to take revenge. Don't think that Vasco da Gama was a saint. He was a merchant, he was a fighter, he was a sailor. He was also a military general. So Vasco da Gama was sent back to India to take revenge. He reached Calicut because Calicut is where all this politics is happening. They are not interested in Goa, they are not interested in Bombay. They want the Jamorin, king of Calicut, to say sorry, or you can say they are here to take revenge. So Vasco da Gama again reaches Calicut. For the second time, dates are not important. Year is 1502. Minutes after reaching the shore, that means he has come by ship. If you come by ship, you land at a harbor. So minutes after reaching the shore, so when Vasco da Gama landed, he saw that many Muslim ships or Arabian ships were also located in the same harbor. So these ships were basically carrying pilgrimage. Muslims, Indian Muslims were going to Makkah on their religious, you can say there is a religious activity known as Hajj. So Muslims have to go to Makkah for that. So all the passengers of the ship were massacred. Why? Because they were at war. Christians and Muslims were fighting. You have to remember. So as soon as Vasco da Gama reaches Calicut, this time he starts assaulting and immediately he massacred those people who were about to go to Makkah. Vasco da Gama bombarded Calicut for 2 days. Vasco da Gama bombarded Calicut for 2 days because he had to take revenge and destroyed many Indian ships, killing hundreds of Indian sailors. Vasco da Gama shifted his focus to Kannur because Calicut is at war. Portuguese and Calicut, they are no more friends. They are fighting, they are bombarding. So now he have to go somewhere else. So this is the neighboring kingdom of Kannur, which is known as Kannur today. So Vasco da Gama shifted his focus to Kannur and started a factory there in 1502. So you can see where did the attack takes place here. Where is the factory set up? Here. The factory is set up in 1502. So all this was happening. Now Vasco da Gama's purpose is completed. He had come here to take revenge. He had taken the revenge. He had also opened a factory in Kannur. One factory was already there at Calicut, but that was destroyed because they were now fighting. So you need another factory. So new factory is opened at Kannur or Kannur. So the purpose of Vasco da Gama's visit is fulfilled and it's time for him to return back to Portugal. So he returns back to Portugal in 1503 AD, leaving his uncle behind to take care of Indian interest. So before going back to Portugal, he left behind his uncle because he has opened a factory here. Trade posts were there. That means Portuguese have already made up their mind that they are going to stay in India. That's why before returning, he left his uncle here. Now let me tell you something. See what used to happen during those times, that there were no flights, there were no land routes. So every year or every 2 years, some 2,000 to 3,000 people used to gather in a ship, and then they used to come on the shore of India. For 2 to 3 years, there was no connection with the Portuguese king. So you can say that Portuguese king used to send ships after ship. So every 2-3 years, they used to send a ship. So on first ship came Vasco da Gama, on second ship came Cabral. So ships used to come. So whenever a ship from Portugal used to come to India, some new political events used to take place. Fine, you have to understand it that way. Ship is coming, that means with that ship an important person has been sent by the king of Portugal for some political purpose, some political motive. So now you have understood the story so far. Vasco da Gama has bombarded Calicut, taken his revenge, established the second factory at Kannur, and now he goes back to Portugal, leaving his uncle behind.